Angel Reese on the unapologetically clout-chasing Caitlin Clark podcast. I think that's what it's called. Unapologetic Clout-Chasing of Caitlin Clark podcast, hosted by Angel Reese.
Angel Reese's podcast was meant to be her ultimate platform, showcasing her charm and wit beyond basketball. However, instead of solidifying her dominance, it quickly became a stage for awkward moments, unexpected controversies, and one name that just won't leave the conversation: Caitlin Clark. Things took an even more unpredictable turn when Shaquille O'Neal made a guest appearance, turning Reese's show into something no one could have foreseen. With his brutal honesty and seemingly intentional trolling, Shaq put Reese in an uncomfortable position, both as a host and as a basketball personality. But that wasn't the end. Shaq took his trolling to his own podcast, doubling down on some truly jaw-dropping takes, leaving everyone stunned.
Shaq likes to use his position to motivate people. And I was curious, I've heard Shaq's position on it. How do guys normally react when Shaq calls them out? Have you ever seen that perspective before?
Big guys be hurt.
Yeah.
Big guys be hurt. Even when, like I done seen, I ain't gonna name nobody names, but I done seen.
The kid the other day, yo man, get on my snap so you can go viral. And I told him no. He's like, why you tell me no? I was like, because what's your plan after you go viral? What you gonna do? Anybody can go viral on Monday. What you gonna do on Tuesday?
Bro.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Why does Angel Reese's podcast keep circling back to Caitlin Clark? What exactly did Shaq say? And why is it causing such a stir? Wasn't Shaq Reese's #1 fan? Most importantly, what does all this mean for Reese's attempt to stay relevant in the highly competitive world of women's basketball? These questions are central to the ongoing drama.
So that's Shaq giving Caitlin Clark some credit right to the face of Angel Reese. Angel Reese sitting there gritting her teeth, I'm sure.
Angel Reese's podcast, intended to showcase her personality and keep her relevant off the court, has unintentionally shifted the focus away from her star power. Instead, it has given Caitlin Clark an even bigger spotlight. From the very first episodes, discussions about Clark's basketball dominance have hijacked the conversation, with guests frequently mentioning her, even when the topic wasn't directly related. This recurring theme has sparked viral moments on social media, with one tweet humorously suggesting it's the Caitlin Clark Hour hosted by Angel Reese. While meant as a joke, it's closer to the truth than Reese may have hoped. Take a recent episode with Shaquille O'Neal as an example. What should have been a celebratory moment for Reese turned awkward when Shaq, instead of highlighting her achievements, praised Clark's basketball abilities. He went so far as to compare her three-point shooting to that of NBA legend Steph Curry, further fueling the ongoing comparison between the two stars.
Why do you think people love Caitlin Clark, besides her skills?
She can shoot threes from logo.
We never seen that before. That's my point. Steph Curry, a little kid. Like Steph Curry, I love. You know why I love Steph Curry? Because I've never seen that before.
Even more uncomfortably, Shaq admitted to being proven wrong by Caitlin Clark's performance, an admission that left Reese visibly squirming. For viewers, it felt like Reese's spotlight was being stolen right before her eyes. The awkwardness of the moment added another layer to the ongoing tension surrounding the podcast.
We've never seen before. Never seen nobody do that on a consistent basis. There's a lot of girls in WNBA that have done it in spurts, but you know that game I'm watching y'all in the Final Four, I'm like, damn, like, and I was a hater because you know I'm down with you. Like, she's not gonna hit that shot, and bam, like, damn, she's not gonna hit that shot, man. Like, if I say 10 times you're not gonna hit the shot and you hit the shot, that means.
Shaq's appearance on Reese's podcast was just the latest in a series of awkward moments where the conversation inevitably shifted to Caitlin Clark. Reese's guests, whether unintentionally or not, often end up praising Clark's talents or discussing her dominance in the sport, overshadowing Reese's own achievements. This raises the question, is Reese intentionally using Clark's fame to boost her own podcast? Or is Clark's influence so powerful that it's hard to escape? Either way, it's a tough situation for Reese. On her own platform, where she should be the center of attention, she often finds herself in the uncomfortable position of playing second fiddle to Clark's legacy.
How impactful has your relationship been with Angel?
She's like a daughter to me, so I'm gonna protect her. I'll call her every now and then, and just mess with her, but it's great. She's out there.
As awkward as it was to hear Shaq praise Caitlin Clark on Reese's podcast, His blunt comments about Reese herself turned the moment into outright embarrassment. Shaq's critiques left Reese visibly rattled, and her fans were furious. What was meant to be a celebration of Reese's achievements quickly turned into a tense exchange, leaving everyone wondering what went wrong. Let's break down those shocking comments next.
All right.
If Angel Reese thought having Shaquille O'Neal on her podcast would bring support and validation, she was in for a rude awakening. Shaq's appearance wasn't just a missed opportunity, it became a masterclass in trolling, leaving Reese rattled, her fans fuming, and basketball fans buzzing with mixed reactions.
You know who you are? You're the female Antoine Jameson. You know who Antoine Jameson is? He got 20,000 points with his shot. Whatever your shot is. Like, everybody's shot ain't gonna be Steph Curry. Your shot is your shot.
The awkwardness began early, with Shaq delivering what some fans described as verbal body shots. One of the most talked about moments was his comparison of Reese to Anton Jameson. While Jameson was a solid player with a respectable NBA career, he never made it to the Hall of Fame, a stark contrast to Shaq's own legendary status. By framing Reese in this light, Shaq implied she was more of a role player than a future icon, a comparison that seemed to cut deep. Fans quickly reacted, with many questioning whether Shaq's comments were meant to be constructive or intentionally hurtful.
He called her Antoine Jameson. Most people, trust me, she was offended.
She didn't know who that was.
She probably does. She's a basketball fan. She probably does. But, I mean, Antoine Jameson ain't cracking nobody's top 200 in NBA history. And this woman thinks she's one of the greatest WNBA players or greatest women's basketball player of all time.
Then came the critique of Reese's layup technique. Shaq dismissed it as basic, adding, "You're too worried about what people think. Stop caring and just focus on your game." For someone like Reese, who has built her brand on unapologetic self-expression, Shaq's unsolicited advice felt more like a dismissal of her entire approach to the game and her identity. Fans saw this as another jab at her confidence and style.
Oh, she can't be rookie of the year because all she do is do the flip shots, get rebounds. Just remember all that shit that they say.
The strangest moment, however, was Shaq's comment about Reese's shorts, suggesting they might help draw more attention to the WNBA. Fans didn't hold back, labeling the remark creepy and wildly inappropriate. Reese herself seemed caught off guard, and the silence that followed felt louder than any rebuttal she could have given.
Well, imagine you.
I'm not imagining.
Let me finish. Imagine you in the same little shirt you had on at the Wild 'N Out show, Duncan. You know how many t-shirts you gonna sell, cuz? You tripping.
Oh my
What?
God.
What?
God.
Them same little shirt you had on.
Okay, all right.
Bro.
Social media erupted in the aftermath, with fans dissecting every word of Shaq's appearance. Many wondered why he chose Reese's podcast to air such pointed critiques. Shaq's unfiltered honesty raised more questions than it answered. Was it tough love, a calculated move to generate headlines, or simply Shaq being Shaq? Whatever the motivation, his remarks didn't just overshadow the episode. They amplified Reese's struggles to maintain control over her narrative. But Shaq wasn't done. His own podcast became the stage for round 2, where the trolling reached new heights. If Angel Reese thought the trolling stopped when Shaq left her podcast, she was sorely mistaken. Shaq took the controversy up a notch on his platform, using his podcast to double down on the remarks that had already set social media ablaze, further fueling the fire and leaving Reese with more to address than she ever anticipated.
Like, I may go say some off-the-wall stuff and do that, but you gotta understand about me, everything I do is planned. For example, the Angel stuff. Y'all don't think that was done purposely?
Shaq wasted no time addressing the fallout from his appearance on Reese's show, but instead of dialing things back, he leaned in harder. "Every single thing I said was intentional," Shaq declared, his voice dripping with unapologetic confidence. "I wanted people to talk about it." This admission left no doubt that Shaq's comments on Reese's podcast were carefully calculated to stir the pot. He didn't stop there, revisiting his critique of her layup technique and defending it as advice, not criticism. But if you don't want to take it, that's on you. For Reese, who had already faced scrutiny for her playing style and public persona, This felt less like tough love and more like a deliberate effort to chip away at her credibility. Shaq's approach made it clear that his comments were not just off the cuff, but part of a larger strategy to challenge Reese's position, both as an athlete and a public figure.
It was, because I know everything I said, you dummies was going to click, we was going to go viral, and the big podcast network was going to do what we do, be number one. Thank you very much, dummies.com. Everything I do was planned. So anyway, if you got a camera in my face, I already know what that's about.
Shaq's podcast episode went viral almost instantly, sparking debates not only about Reese's standing in the WNBA, but also about Shaq's intentions. Was he offering constructive criticism? Or was this just another example of Shaq's love for creating viral moments? Does he truly think Angel is a mere role player? And what about his cringeworthy comments about her shorts? As the dust settled, one thing was clear. Shaq's second wave of trolling amplified the tension surrounding Reese, casting an even brighter spotlight on Caitlin Clark. With Reese's credibility under fire, the question remains, can she reclaim control of the narrative?
Now, Caitlin plays the right way. I saw it. She makes the right play. Every time, not all the time, she makes her teammates better. She shoots the ball. She's a great player.
As Shaq's comments on Angel Reese dominated headlines, a larger narrative began to emerge, one centered on Caitlin Clark's undeniable impact on women's basketball. While Reese's attempts to control the narrative around herself seemed to backfire, Clark continued to let her skills do the talking, solidifying her role as a transformative figure in the sport. What sets Clark apart isn't just her record-breaking stats or her ability to drain logo-range threes with ease, but her consistency. While Reese has been embroiled in controversies ranging from social media spats to podcast missteps, Clark has remained laser-focused on elevating her game. Her dedication is evident in everything from her on-court performance to her off-season ventures, which now include golf, a sport she's quickly gaining recognition in.
It's in the car, actually.
Sorry about that. Thanks, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Yay!
This stark contrast in approaches hasn't gone unnoticed by fans and analysts alike. Shaq's glowing praise for Caitlin Clark, calling her a game changer and a future Hall of Famer, isn't just a reflection of her skill set, but also her ability to inspire a new generation of players. Clark's rise feels organic, a natural progression for someone whose talent is impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, Angel Reese's calculated attempts to stay relevant often seem to fall flat or spark backlash. Even outside of basketball, Clark's influence is reshaping how fans view women's sports. Her transition into golf has opened doors to new audiences, showcasing her versatility and breaking down stereotypes about what female athletes can achieve. This move not only boosts her personal brand, but also helps elevate the entire WNBA by association. Shaq's pointed comments about Reese, compared to his effusive praise for Clark, reflect a broader sentiment in the basketball world. As one fan noted online, Clark is everything Reese wants to be: dominant, respected, and controversy-free. This sentiment underscores the growing gap between the two athletes, both in terms of public perception and on-court achievements. While Reese continues to struggle with her narrative, Clark's steady focus on her craft only solidifies her place as the face of the future in women's sports.
Shaquille O'Neal knows talent when he sees it. Shaquille O'Neal knows a baller when he sees it.
As Caitlin Clark gears up for her second season with the Indiana Fever, the stakes have never been higher. With every game she plays, Clark not only cements her own legacy, but also pushes the WNBA closer to the mainstream spotlight. Meanwhile, Angel Reese faces the challenging task of reclaiming her narrative in a landscape that increasingly seems to favor Clark. Shaq's unfiltered commentary has done more than just spark a social media frenzy. It's exposed a widening gap between Angel Reese's attempts to stay relevant and Caitlin Clark's unstoppable rise. What began as a podcast episode meant to highlight Reese's personality and career turned into a public lesson in the power of undeniable talent. From Shaq's sharp critiques of Reese's game to his unabashed praise for Clark, the narrative is clear. Clark represents a new standard in women's basketball, while Reese struggles to keep up. Reese's efforts to control her narrative, whether through her podcast or social media presence, often feel overshadowed by Clark's consistent excellence and authenticity. The difference between the two is striking. While Clark continues to rise, Reese is left trying to regain her footing in a world that's already moved on.
Shaq just called her a role player, not a star, certainly not a superstar, not a legend. Hey, you remind me of Antoine Jameson. Oh, nice player. Put up 20,000 points. No one's really heard of him. I think Antoine played at North Carolina. Anyway, Shaq slams Angel Reese to her face.
Shaq's trolling wasn't just about getting laughs. It reflected a broader sentiment in the basketball community. His words highlighted the stark differences between Reese's controversial reputation and Clark's growing legacy. As Shaq himself said, every comment was intentional, designed to spark conversations, debates, and perhaps even reflection. The implications for Reese are significant. If she wants to reclaim the spotlight, she'll need to let her game do the talking and refocus on what made her a household name in the first place, her talent. Meanwhile, Clark's influence continues to expand, pushing boundaries both on and off the court. As the rivalry between these two players heats up, one thing is certain: Caitlin Clark isn't just a competitor. She's setting the pace for the future of women's basketball. Whether Reese can rise to meet that challenge remains to be seen. What's your take on Shaq's comments? Was he too harsh, or was he simply speaking the truth? If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. More videos are on screen now.